Hi, today I'm at the British Museum. It's currently 3 on the 7th of April, and today I'm going to be here because I'm going to be exploring the relation between Indian artifacts inside the museum and the relation to them between in the film Sardar Udham and how they show the historical context of the film. Let's discuss.
In preparation for this assignment, I did some research on the different locations provided, one being the British Museum. The British Museum was founded in 1753. It is a non-departmental public body and it holds around 8 million objects from all across the world. Some of the objects were taken and purchased in regions that were under British colonial rule at the time. I have chosen to visit the British Museum due to the subject of the film that I picked. I thought the British Museum seemed like a good place to go to get more insight and understanding of the film and the historical context, which would then allow me to further understand and evaluate the making, themes, and narrative of the film. The film I have chosen to look at is Sardar Udham, which is a historical biopic film made in 2021 by director Sujit Sircar. This film follows the story of Indian revolutionary Udham Singh over 20 years as he seeks revenge for the British troop killing of hundreds of people during the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. In keeping with the context and themes of the film, I decided to visit the Indian and East Asian sections of the British Museum. This exhibition holds many Indian artifacts. They are displayed in chronological order, starting on the right-hand side, working along that wall, down the back, and back up the left-hand side. It starts in the year 1000 BC and works all the way up to present day. One of the first things I noticed as I walked through the exhibition was the chronological layout of the artifacts. This made me think about the contrasting, non-linear narrative structure of the film. The museum presents the artifacts as separated from each other. Each section of history is its own thing and doesn't influence the others. However, the film moves back and forth between different periods of time. This shows how history, historical events, and different time periods are all interconnected. It suggests that India and the Indian people will not just be able to swiftly move on from the years of British colonization and violence, but that it has shaped them into what they are today and will continue to do so in the future. The film shows the extreme impact of British colonization on India and its people in a number of ways, but the most violent and shocking example of this impact is the depiction of the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. As I walked around the exhibition, one thing that caught my eye was the colour of the artifacts. The costumes of the Indian people were made of bright, beautiful, vibrant colours such as pinks, yellows, reds, and blues. The paintings and artifacts being in the same colours as the costumes in this scene made me think of the scene in a new context. While yes, countless people were brutally murdered that day, on reflection it seemed to me that all of history, beauty, and the spark of India and its people have been destroyed in that moment as well. It suggests that the British rule killed not only the people that were there in that moment, but also the history and vibrancy of India as a country. While in the museum, the colours of these artifacts are still well intact, with the beauty preserved to be seen by many, the costumes in the film had a different fate, with them being covered in blood and dirt during the violence. This shows how, yes, we can preserve parts of history, but the people and the effects will be smeared. One final thing I noticed was the change over time from the statues being represented of peaceful religious figures to more realistic violent acts that show more of real life during the years when British colonial rule was taking place, which made me think of how Udham Singh's change in persona is reflected in the film from just a normal guy until after the massacre when he changes to become a person capable of violence, which showed how far British colonization pushed the people of India. In conclusion, I think my trip to the British Museum really helped me to connect and relate to the historical events of the time of the film. And yes, while I kept in mind the film was a biopic, I think seeing the artifacts in person and having context of the film to relate it to really allows you to get a sense for the life that people were living during the time of the film and how harsh the reality of colonisation was on India and how much it had affected the country and the people and still is affecting them to this day.